I started meditating last year,
Yeah.
and I get up very early every morning, regardless. I get up at 5 every morning,
Yep.
and I come into the studio, which faces the lake. I sit in my overstuffed leather chair and have a cup of coffee, and I watch the sunrise over the lake. No
Yeah.
phone. I shut everything off. No phone, no email, no computer, no anything. I just sit there and I just sort of meditate about what's going on. And I have found that that has helped me prioritize what's important for the day, and it also helps me clear my mind.
Yeah.
And that's my time. I don't give that up for anyone.
Absolutely. And I have a very similar morning routine. It's so important. It's so powerful. Presence, taking time to be present with yourself, and the fact that you do it to start the day and watch the sunrise. And there's so much to unpack here. So thank you for sharing all that. By the way,
No
I mean, it
problem.
really comes down to when you think about it. When we wake in the morning, the sun rises. Like so, there's gravity, there's oxygen, there's sunlight, literally just so that you can exist. Right. Every single day, that is here so that you can exist. So therefore, life is a gift. And so if every single day you're waking up to sunrise, to sunlight, to gravity, to oxygen so that you can exist, and it is this momentous miracle of a gift, what are we doing with it? Are we wasting time and physical energy focusing on, to your point, is life happening to me? And in any case, when we start to, and you mentioned the word coping before, and that's something I kind of want to reflect back on. So that feeling of life is happening to me is a coping mechanism. It's like I have to cope. I have to react. I'm reacting the whole time. And there's a difference between reacting and responding. When you start to choose to decide that life is happening for me, as weird as it may sound, in some stressful situations, in some traumatic situations, if at any given point, because it's either one or the other, right? It's not like life happens to me sometimes and it happens for me other times. It's really either one or the other
Right.
from a quantum physics level. So once you decide for a fact that life is happening for me, no matter how crazy it gets, and you start stepping into that, and every single decision you make is based on that concept, you start to understand that every moment is a gift, every day is a gift. Okay. So in the situation of the gentleman from Arizona, it's like, so how to even step back and ask yourself, how could this or why could this possibly be happening for me? This delay, this slow pace, this slow response. I don't know what the answer is. And sometimes we don't know these things until hindsight. But, in any situation, when you decide, okay, life is happening for me, I'm not coping, I'm creating. So I'm taking this information, it's all constant information. If I start off with gratitude for the experience and decide that this is happening for me, I don't know why yet, but I can be curious and start kind of utilizing the right side of my brain to ask why or how could this possibly be happening for me, instead of labeling it as a bad situation or a stressful situation and putting it in this box where there's no opportunity. You change it from judgment, so I'm judging the situation as bad, to curiosity, because judgment and curiosity are two sides of the same coin. It's recognizing that there's something outside of yourself or something to look at as one way or another. And instead of looking at it just as good or bad, you look at it as why or how, or how can I grow from this, or what is the lesson? And you really put your focus and your energy into curiosity versus judgment of the situation. It opens up possibility and you start to step more into flow. And if you add, again, gratitude for the sake of being and being here now in that moment, instead of worrying about the future. And again, listen, man, I mean, you're working with big numbers, you're working with all sorts of giant moving parts. And I totally understand that. I don't want to belittle that by any means.
No, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Listen, this is a thing that I was interested when I saw that you were going to be a guest on the show. I was interested from a selfish standpoint, quite frankly. And I was like, okay, I'm actually going through this right now. I'm going through what I was reading.
Yeah.
And so I thought it would be interesting to sort of hear somebody explain how they speak to other people about how to cope with this particular thing. Listen, I'm a big believer in planning, right? As a pilot, I always look at the horizon, and I use this in my speech all the time. When you're flying, if you look at a thunder cloud on the horizon, you have two choices. You could make a 3-degree correction now and safely and effortlessly uh, circumvent the thunderstorm, or you can wait until you're right up on top of it and then make a 50-degree aggressive turn and throw everybody all over the airplane and most likely have some rough flying. And it's the same end result. You
Yeah.
circumvented the thunderstorm, but if you looked at the horizon instead of looking right off the nose, you have plenty of time to make a different decision to get the same end result. And one is good and the other one is disruptive, to say
Yeah.
the least.